Good morning and welcome to our virtual live stream. My name is Craig Miller. I'm the minister here at Knox United in Brandon, and you may find a bulletin, an order of worship for today, and a song sheet at our website, knoxunitedbrandon.ca. And we're going to start by singing a couple of our favorite pieces from More Voices, so you'll want to have that song sheet handy. I'm joined by Bernie and Mindy and Jane this morning on this long weekend. I'm thankful for their presence with me here this morning. They've been here all through this journey of live streaming worship. It's a beautiful weekend. I understand from my Weather Network website that Manitoba is the hot spot in Canada this weekend, and I'm sure many of us feel like we deserve it after a fairly cool spring. So we're glad that you've joined us. Let's settle in and join in these songs of praise. The first is number 103 in More Voices, Kamana o Io. Faithful, faithful is our God. That you appreciated much of the imagery that is rich and deep within that song. Particularly today, we're thinking about God's breathing in us and in the earth. We're thinking about serving with tenderness and care, as the song speaks about being Christ's hands and feet in this world. and the journey of love that leads us on the way. Wonderful words for us today as we begin this worship time together. Now let us join in one of our favorite Easter hymns for our Spirit Kids Club, one that we did a few weeks ago with them on our Wednesday night Zoom. I Can Feel You Near Me, God, number 48 in More Voices. And you're going to need to, if you're able, be up on your feet and jump for joy. Of course, you can do that, a little bit of a jump from your chair or your bed, and from your feet. I can feel you near me.
Do you think some people are still in bed yet?
I can imagine there may be some folks, breakfast in bed and virtual worship with Craig and Bernie and Mindy and Jane on the laptop.
I can feel you near me, God, I can feel you near. Yes, I know you're good, but I very near. I can feel you near me, God, I can feel you near. Yes, I know you're with me, God, heaven is here. And I'll jump for joy, I'm singing hallelujah. Jump for joy, and I will jump for joy and singing hallelujah. Jump for joy. I can feel you loving me, yes, I know you care. God, I know you're loving me, God is everywhere. I can feel you loving me, yes, I know you care. God, I know you're loving me, I know you're there. And I'll jump for joy and sing it, hallelujah. Jump for joy for you. And I'll jump for joy and sing it, hallelujah. Jump for joy for you.
We're jumping for joy for you. We're visualizing our congregation that meets here pre-pandemic. We're thinking about Alan and Irene, and we're seeing Norma and Ida and Art and Cease and Norm and all of you. We hold you in our hearts this day, and we jump for joy in thanks for our relationship together. Sisters, brothers, and others, the peace of the risen Christ be with you.
And also with you.
As we join in worship today, our rainbow candles are lit, and they remind us of the affirming ministry that we share together. This is the International Day against homophobia, biphobia, transphobia. Say a little bit more about that later in the service today. We're reminded that we are an affirming ministry in the United Church of Canada. We welcome all of God's rainbow children to join us in our life together, and we work proactively for an inclusive and diverse community that recognizes the gifts of God for all of God's children. We also acknowledge that we gather on Treaty 2 land, traditional lands of the Dakota Sioux, the Anishinaabeg, the Cree and OG Cree, the Dene, and we're here in the heart of the Métis Nation. Just a couple of announcements for you, and there is an announcement page on our website in a PDF format for you to access. Our spring lunch is this Thursday. It's by delivery or pickup here at Knox. You can order by contacting Sharon Christmas, and there's order information there. Sharon has been in contact with public health, and our kitchen and staff have been authorized for this. We'll be taking precautions and invite you, if you wish, to join us in this spring lunch. We have a sharing circle coming up a week from Monday night on Zoom. If you're interested in joining that, that's a time for Indigenous and non-Indigenous folks here in the Westman area to come together in a circle time of sharing and support. You can contact me if you'd like to be a part of that meeting on Zoom. And also a reminder that our council meets this Tuesday night on Zoom as well. Now, we're going to join in what we're calling the Hangout Place and my Spirit Kids Club. I don't know if any of you are on with us on our live stream this morning. I know some of you were heading out to campsites and other places to enjoy this weekend. But we want to think about deep breathing, the importance of deep breathing. You know, when your body is calm and when you're kind of restful, maybe when you're reading a book at night before bed, maybe some of you do that with your parents, or maybe if you're watching a show in your easy chair, your body is relaxed and your breathing is normal, your heart rate is steady, your stomach is digesting your food. But when you experience something that's stressful, you might have what's called this fight or flight reflex. And it causes your heart to beat a little faster and your stomach to stop digesting and your breathing to become a little bit more shallow. It can happen when you're frustrated or when you're upset. And we know that these days when we're having to do things really differently, we can get frustrated and upset pretty easily. Maybe I'm at home and I'm looking out across my backyard and I see my neighbor friends and they're jumping up and down on their trampoline, but I can't go join them. And that makes me kind of upset and I start to get that tightness in my stomach. Or maybe I asked Dad to make my favorite meal for supper, macaroni and cheese, and he forgot and made tuna noodle casserole. Ugh. Does anybody make tuna noodle casserole anymore?
I like it.
Bernie loves it. I do too, actually.
I like any food, you know. If somebody made it for me.
If someone made it for you, you're good to go. Maybe you're on Zoom with your class because you can't meet in your school right now. And you've got 25 or 30 of your friends, your classmates, on Zoom. And you're supposed to be participating, but the picture's changing, and you don't really feel like you can get a word in edgewise, and maybe your teacher doesn't understand why you're not participating more. And again, you can kind of clench up, and your breathing gets shallow, and your heart starts to beat. So something that you can do in those times is do some deep breathing exercises. One thing that you can do at home that we're not going to do here this morning because we're making sacrifices for the common good is that you can blow bubbles. It's a great way to just kind of slow down. And you take a deep breath in, and then you blow out through that bubble wand, and you watch the bubbles fly in the air. That's one thing that you can do at home with those that you're sheltering in place with. Another thing that you can do, Bernie's going to help me out here. He's going to lay down on the chancel floor, and I know it'll be a little hard to see him, but we'll do our best. What you can do, and get your favorite stuffed animal, and you place it on your tummy, on your belly, and what you want to do is you want to take a deep breath in, and you want to make it move. Bernie's doing so well at it that the stuffed animal's kind of falling right off. So can we imagine what might be stressful for Bernie? You know that Bernie spends a lot of time at the green spot.
Working in retail.
Working in retail, yeah. I remember those days. And maybe he's got some folks that have come to the green spot and they are not paying attention to the arrows on the aisles and they're going the wrong way. So Bernie's going to take a deep breath in, and you can see that, maybe you can see that stuffed animal moving. He's doing a great job with that. Maybe yesterday when I was at the green spot, Bernie was collecting carts so they could sanitize them, and maybe a few people are bringing them back all at once, and they're rolling them down the ramp faster than Bernie can catch them. So Bernie's going to take a deep breath in and then let it out. And you can see that stuffed animal going up and down. Maybe it's Saturday or another day of the week at the Green Spot, and all of the Green Spot staff have decided to go on a coffee break all at the same time, and they didn't invite Bernie. So Bernie's taking a deep breath in and letting it out. And he's finding his happy place, wherever that might be. How are you feeling, Bernie?
Really good, actually.
Yeah.
Can you just leave me here for a while?
We could just leave him there for a while. Yeah, it feels so good. You know, we talk about, in the Christian community, about the breath of God in us, the breath of life. And you've heard me talk about the Hebrew word for spirit, God's spirit, which is ruach, which means breath or wind. It's a wonderful gift of God, and we want to make sure that we are taking full advantage of that gift and that we are living into our healthiest selves. So some deep breathing exercises that you can do at home. There's others that you can find on the web, but these are just two of my favorites, blowing bubbles and the stuffed animal belly exercise. All right. Well, we're going to let Bernie keep breathing there. And we're going to create a temple in our hearts and in our minds and join in our song, Like a Rock, from More Voices. Like a Rock, number 92 in More Voices. Do the motions with me. Let's center our hearts as one. And
Oh, I was just having a little nap there. That was...
Bernie was so relaxed. He's going to grab his drum, and let's join in this centering prayer time. I invite you to take a deep breath in and let it out. I invite you to place your hand on your heart, and with Bernie, we're going to find a heartbeat rhythm. Just going to tap lightly with Bernie. And we pray, Holy living God, heartbeat of creation, may this be a time to center on you, for you made us. You gave us the breath of life, and you continue to be with us every moment, every breath, every step. Hear this sung assurance. take another deep breath in, making sure our shoulders are relaxed and we're letting go of any tension in our bodies as we breathe. I invite you to pick up your worry stone if you have it with you today. We touch the surface and we're reminded that God's touch is as close as this object in our hands. We release our anxiety, any fear that we may have, frustration. We release that and give it over to the way of love. We remember that love, that God is always with us. Let us imagine letting go of our worries into the heart of love. And let us offer our prayer song.
Into your care we offer now our worries, fears, and strife. We turn to you and know you're near. Your light into our love and love.
I invite you to take your worry stones and place them next to your candles or your worship table if you have one. If you have a candle with you, I invite you to light it now as we light our Christ candle and give thanks for the light and love of Christ in our lives and in our world. We keep all of our friends in our hearts in this time. We keep hope in our hearts. We keep gratitude in our hearts. This is part of the heart of the message for us this day. You've been invited to have some food with you to share together, either breakfast or a snack. And so let's bless the food that we've gathered today. Holy and living one, we gather in your name, invited by Jesus and bound together by your Spirit, in union with each other. Feed our bodies and feed our spirits with your comforting presence, so that we might be your comfort to others. Bless this food and break open our hearts. Bless this drink and pour out your love. Amen. Now I invite you, if you have some food with you, to raise it up, to raise a glass, and to say a one-word prayer that is at the heart of every matter. Just invite you to echo after me. Grateful.
Grateful.
And we remember Meister Eckhart, who said, if there's one prayer that you say in your life, let it be thank you. Let us begin to break bread and share food together as the word is broke open for us today. The resurrected Jesus tells his disciples in this reading from the Gospel of John, kind of continuing from last week's reading, that the Spirit, his Spirit, will be with them when he is gone. And Bernie's going to share that reading for us.
If you love me and obey the command I give you, I will ask the one who sent me to give you another companion, another helper to be with you always, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot accept, since the world neither sees nor recognizes. But you can recognize the Spirit, because the Spirit remains with you and will be within you. I won't leave you orphaned. I will come back to you. A little while now, and the world will see no more, but you'll see me, because I live, and you will live as well. On that day, you will know that I am in God, and you are in me, and I am in you. Those who obey my commandments are the ones who love me, and those who love me will be loved by Abba God. I too will love them and will reveal myself to them. Now let's join together with the song Shadow and Substance on your song sheet, or if you have more voices, it's number 44. Shadow and substance, wonder and mystery, spellbinding spinner of atoms and all, soul of the cosmos, person and energy, source of our being, we sing of the world. We are your image, formed in community, sisters and brothers of Adam and Eve. You gave us color, custom and history. Teach us to honor what others receive. Naming and nameless, spirit of unity, scanning the heavens for signs of your care. God of the ages, give us humanity, guide us to mystical union in prayer.
A moment ago, Bernie read that passage from John speaking about where Jesus speaks about following the commandments. We know that sometimes doing the right thing is hard to do. Sometimes doing the right thing is difficult because we have to make sacrifices for each other, like not blowing bubbles when we're together with folks that we're not sheltering in place with. Of course, there are other sacrifices that may be harder. We do it and we follow the commandment to love because we seek to live in God's way. In this excerpt from a letter to the early church in 1 Peter, we hear Peter encourage the people to always be ready to share from their hearts about the source of hope that is in them in Jesus Christ.
Now, who will harm you if you are eager to do what is good? But even if you do suffer for doing what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear what they fear, and do not be intimidated, but in your hearts sanctify Christ as Lord. Always be ready to make your defense to anyone who demands from you an accounting for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and reverence.
Well, how do we sanctify Christ as Lord? That's language that we don't use in the community of faith much anymore. To sanctify something means to set it apart, and to do so, to set it apart as holy. Holiness resides in each of us and within all of creation. This practice calls us to see holiness in others, in those around